Alright, welcome guys to another Blender live stream. I'm your host Morgan Ozpin, and today we're gonna be doing a grease pencil stream today. Yay! Oh my god. So guys, I apologize for my sickly throat right now, but yeah, we're gonna be doing like a little guerrilla live stream today, wherein we are going to be animating these guys fighting each other to the death, as usual for these types of streams. So I don't want to go into what I've animated so far right now, but I want to highlight just what I've recently animated with these two models right now on this specific scene. So let me just quickly hide these materials here, put this into object mode, and bring up the Buckneck Stadium here. Look at this, guys. This is like the most epic thing I've animated here in Blender, and it took me a couple of streams to get this. Not streams. I mean, it took me a couple of tries to get me to. Hold on, where's the frick is the camera for this? Camera animation. Where is the camera? Oh, here we go. There it is. Set active camera. All right. So guys, I just want to show you guys what I've animated here right now. Starting off with frame 0 here, and let me just rearrange my freaking layers here on my windows here. I mean, so. If I pull up the dope sheet for this specific scene, you can see that I've pretty much made a couple of these keyframes right here onto my animation here, and each keyframe corresponds to a different bone that I've placed right here on my characters here. Hold on, where's the? Here it is. Okay. So yeah, each keyframe here corresponds to a bone that I've animated one by one from each of these characters, and basically, the animation here is going to show us how these two characters are going to be fighting for the specific scene. So, for the first few seconds, I guess the guy would be standing up, picking up this guy, headbutting him, a couple of times, then going for a little bit of a low blow, high blow, I mean, pick him up, and boom! Look at that. Oh my god. I would say that this is the most complicated scene I've animated so far using rigs and shit. And the only thing that sucks here is that everything that I've animated right now is complete. It's just the preliminary draft of what I'm going to be animating in the final shot here, because we got all the 3D models working here, but what really matters most is me getting all of these guys to be animated in grease pencil. So as always, how I do my grease pencil animations, if you guys don't know yet, is I first animate the 3D models first to a specific action, like, you know, headbutting and doing a power bomb. And then once I got all the 3D models fixed, I will go ahead and animate all of this. I mean, I trace all of this onto grease pencil, which I've already done a couple of. If I go down here and I go to grease pencil .007, I already animated a few shots of the first wrestler going for a bunch of headbutts here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm just gonna pull this back a bit. Is a period key, was it? Or okay, so yeah, I've already animated a few shots here with this one guy, so you can see. Well, this almost all of it. I still need to edit out some keyframes because I've sort of recycled a bunch of them, since the headbutt is basically reusing a bunch of keyframes from the armature. So I also reused some frames for the grease pencil. But aside from that, I might need to edit out some keyframes here. So let's just jump into that, shall we? So I'm gonna first get rid of the Buckneck Stadium here. I mean, when I say Buckneck, I mean like the setting. Okay, this looks pretty good. And I also need to drag my stuff down to here, where I can see everything that's happening. And I'm gonna go animate this frame now. Alright. So let me just grab my freaking tablet pen here. And let's go ahead and trace the crap out of this freaking 3D models. Anyway, how your guys' days been? How's your guys' days been? I just recently got back from school. Hence why I'm not really feeling that tired, that energetic today. I was in a class in forensic dentistry with my college this afternoon, but now that I'm back, I'm gonna go ahead and try to chat with you guys on stream here. Basically, these grease pencil streams are just a way for me to chat with you guys. If you guys don't know, this is my version of my just chatting streams, because I don't want to just have a stream where I just chat with you guys without doing anything. I want to feel like productive and shit, and I feel like these grease pencil streams are just has the right amount of strain on my part, wherein I am aware of what I'm saying while still being focused on the project at hand right now, which is doing grease pencil and shit. Because with my other projects in Blender, I usually have a hard time multitasking, and by multitasking I mean like chatting with guys while I work on stuff on the background. But with grease pencil streams like this, I just feel like I can go autopilot when it comes to doing these grease pencil streams. Aside from this specific part where I have to edit some of the stuff here. But other than that, I can chat while I make the frames for this animation here. So I think the last time I did this types of streams, my voice cracked right after I ended the stream for my grease pencil. So I'll try to pause whenever I can, just so I can save up on my voice, just in case it cracks again. I have been taking a bunch of cough syrups lately. And by cough syrups I mean medication that helps me with my sore throat, just in case it gets lost again. Because my god, losing my voice felt very terrifying for me at first. I mean, at first I didn't really mind the fact that I lost my voice, because I don't really talk that much with people outside of streams. So losing my voice wasn't really that worrying to me. But it became so worse to a point that I had to wonder if I would ever be able to speak again. Because I literally cannot. I literally cannot speak for like 7 days, and I didn't even know if there was something wrong with me, or if this is something that can heal after a while. It's why it got me a little bit worried when I lost my voice for the first time. But now, since my voice is back on track, I feel like I should pretty much just trust the people online telling me to just, you know, rest my voice if ever it came to a point wherein I can no longer speak like other word, like literally not other word anymore. Anyway, but yeah, my voice is back. I've been talking again with a bunch of my classmates and my family, and it's good to speak again. Anyway, so now that I'm able to speak again in front of you guys, I want to talk about the stuff that I've been watching lately. Specifically, I've been watching. Is this the correct? Yeah, that's correct. I've been watching like a bunch of Netflix shows lately. Specifically, I've been watching the show called Cobra Kai, which is this Netflix spin-off show of the Karate Kid series from the movies and shit. And gotta say though, I've watched this series back in 2020 when I first heard of it from my family. You know, my dad was a pretty big fan of the Karate Kid films, and when he heard that that the Karate Kid was back as a Netflix show, he was like pretty excited and shit. Is this the correct place to put this? But yeah, we were pretty much excited to watch Cobra Kai for the first time, and you know, I didn't have that much of a history behind the the Karate Kid series aside from the 2010 remake, starring the son of Will Smith and Jackie Chan. So that was my only history that I have with the Karate Kid series. Although I did watch the original trilogy back then, when I was like a very little kid. But the only film that I remembered from the Karate Kid was the remake from 2010, and I was might I say, I was more of a fan of the remake compared to the one starring Ralph Macchio. Was it the original Karate Kid? Yeah, I was a big fan of the remake more than the original Karate Kid, because it felt like it had more heart compared to the original one, and I like the fact that in the remake they tried to address the whole stereotype wherein it's the sensei that's always right compared to the student, when in reality, you know, things can be more complicated than that. Like, you will find dynamics in real life wherein the teacher can sometimes have mistakes compared to the student. And with the remake, you sort of see Miyagi as this drunk person that recently lost his family or something, and I thought that was a pretty good addition or update to the Karate Kid formula. But yeah, I like the Karate Kid remake more than the original series. And when I first heard that Cobra Kai was a thing, I thought, okay, this is not the one that's starring Jackie Chan and Dre Parker. So it's, you know, it's from the universe from the original Karate Kid, and I thought, well, I don't have any past experience with this, but hey, it's still Karate Kid. So I watched it and I thought, wow, this is a really badass show. At least for the first 2 seasons, maybe. No, yeah, I think the first 2 seasons. No, the first season I think was a pretty solid show in my opinion. Like the idea of having this story be reframed as the story of Johnny Lawrence, the original antagonist to the Karate Kid, felt like very felt like a very refreshing take to the original Karate Kid formula. Hold on, let me just quickly. And I like the idea that, you know, in the Cobra Kai show, everyone was, well, not everyone, but in the show, they made it so that they try to question like the idea of Miyagi-Do as a combat style in real life, because when you really think about it, like Miyagi-Do, even though it's really a good idea for people to be under defense, in most circumstances, like there is some instances wherein, you know, whenever you want to try to fight in real life, you want to like try to take offense or in something, and the hardcoreness of the Cobra Kai style felt much more important and much more useful to the current generation compared to the way Miyagi teaches karate. And in the Cobra Kai show, they made it so that they made it so that they made the Cobra Kai style like something much more grounded in real life, I'd say. I don't know. Anyway, fuck, I'm starting to lose track of what I'm saying because I'm so focused on animating this scene. So let me just quickly finish this off before I talk to you guys again. Let me see. I need to change up the framework here. There we go. Alright, let me just quickly move these around. Make a line here. All right. I think that pretty much sums up the frame here. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Cobra Kai, and I think it's a pretty good show. All I'm trying to say is that with Cobra Kai, I felt like it it tried to question the way we think about, you know, like being at peace whenever we fight with each other. That's what I like about Cobra Kai. Like it tried to like question the ideas of Miyagi-Do, or the idea of, you know, of waiting for the chance to strike and letting your opponent do the strike first, when in reality, in some cases, you may want your opponent to strike first, or you may want, you know, you yourself to strike first. And in a way, it sort of grounds the idea of... Okay, I'll just stop talking right now. I need to focus on completing this frame here. Can you not see that I've been struggling to English for the past couple of minutes now? So guys, I've been worrying about this assignment I have at school right now, because I'm supposed to be working on this presentation for this one subject of mine, but the problem was that the teacher didn't tell us beforehand what our topic for this presentation will be all about. And it's only today that the teacher told us that, hey, this is what we're gonna be presenting next week. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you only telling us now? Why? You could have like told us this like in the beginning of the semester and shit. And now that it's come to this, like my freaking group mates are panicking right now as to what we should be doing and shit. But thankfully I showed them like some ideas on what I think, how I think this presentation should work. I'm now just not sure if they would be willing to comply, because you know, when you're this deep into not working into a group project, there'll be some people that would, you know, potentially bail out on you. But I have complete trust on my group mates right now, and hopefully they respond to my message about some ideas we can have for this presentation. Okay, I think I'm gonna delete all these freaking keyframes here. Anyway. Alright, let's go ahead and trace the next part of this this frame. Okay guys, I'm not sure if I'll be streaming that long today, because aside from the fact that this is a back-to-back stream, since I've streamed yesterday, I'm also gonna be watching some movies with my family later today, because my mom invited us to watch the Minecraft movie. Wow. What the heck? There's a Minecraft movie right now? Yeah, I was even surprised that there was a Minecraft movie in this day and age. But yeah, I'm gonna be watching the Minecraft movie with my little siblings and shit. For me, I'm not really that hyped with the Minecraft movie. Because I've seen the trailers and shit, and it felt like, you know, there's some Hollywood cash out movie starring a bunch of very notable actors, I mean. They're just trying to earn a quick buck or something. It didn't feel, this movie didn't feel like it was made out of passion and shit, because, you know, if this was a Minecraft movie, they would have made it an animation instead of a live action CGI film, you know. But who knows, maybe we'll find a bunch of memes with the Minecraft movie. I know there's one thing that I would comment about what the Minecraft movie has done that no other video game movie would have failed to replicate, is the idea that, you know, it at least is still like a relevant franchise that people still care about. Like, do you guys remember when they did the Angry Birds movie? The Angry Birds movie by, by Sony? That felt like a little bit too late to the party to be making a Angry Birds movie on cinemas, but with Minecraft, I feel like there are still enough people that are still interested in the game Minecraft. I just could have wished. I just could have wished that they would have made it an animated film, like the Super Mario Brothers movie. But yeah, we're gonna be watching the Minecraft movie later tonight. And I wanna just make this a very quick stream. I still wanna try and rest for the rest of the day so that I can be awake when Jason Momoa and Jack Black comes right at me from the big screen. God, I remember when I used to be a big Minecraft fan. I remember like the first time I watched someone play Minecraft was with my cousin, and he was like playing a light version of Minecraft for the Pocket Edition on his iPad. And that was the first time I was exposed to Minecraft, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? What is this game? And I'm like, and he's like, yo, this is Minecraft. And then and I looked at the graphics and I was like, what the fuck? This looks like bull. This looks like shit. Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of Minecraft at first when I first saw what the gameplay was like. But my cousin insisted, no, it's a pretty good game. Why don't you go play it a little bit? So I played it at first. I played it in creative mode at first because I think my cousin didn't really trust me in surviving Minecraft through survival mode. And when I first played creative mode, I felt like, wow, this is a pretty good game. Because at the time I was like around like 10 years old, I think, or 11. I think I was 11 years old when I first heard of Minecraft, and this was, I think, technically my first ever 3D game I've ever played. The first ever 2D game I've ever played, I think, was a bootleg Game Boy game I received from when I went to a carnival once with my parents and my family relatives. But Minecraft, I think, was my first ever 3D game I played on any system. So I was pretty surprised to see how gaming works in a 3D perspective. And it was also like the first time I've also been exposed to the idea of open world games. The idea they can roam around a vast world without any restraint. And as a kid, still living with his parents at the time, the idea of you being able to explore a vast world without any restraint just feels like a deal breaker, I'd say. Because as a kid you want to like go around, play, run around with your friends and have fun as you explore the places that are around you. But you just can't do that because as a kid, because or at least IRL, because your parents are much more concerned about your safety and shit. But Minecraft sort of gave kids an avenue for them to explore a vast world while still making it possible for them to be safe and sound in their own homes. And I guess that's the reason why when parents ask, yo, why are you not going outside? Why did you play, go out, touch some grass? And And the reason why, the recent generation is not into going outside is because technology has and ideas about technology has so much improved to a point that you can explore what's outside with just a few clicks or taps of your phone or something. And that's something you just can't find in, when you're a parent who's not really tech savvy and shit. They would never understand what it's like to discover the fact that you can explore a vast world with just a few clicks of a button with your computer or with your phone and something. But then again, though, there's some kind of fault to heavily relying on your phone to explore the world around you. Like, for example, me, I had a little bit of a hard time understanding how to adapt in real life, I'd say. Because back then I didn't really have that much friends to go off with. In real life, and the reason why I think that's the case because I've been spending too much time on my phone just playing Minecraft and shit. I don't know, I guess the reason why I'm not really that socially inept back then is because I was too much focused on single player games and shit. Who knows, maybe if I would have... Hey, Fizz Plays, what's up? I subbed to you? Nice. Anyway, I'm talking about freaking Minecraft here. And I was talking about how in Minecraft it gave like kids an avenue to explore a vast world without ever having to leave the comfort of their home or have their parents worry about what will happen to them. Anyway, hey yo, what's up? I've been working on this little grease pencil animation here. And I've been tracing the edges of these models for a bit now. And what I've animated here is basically these 3D balls fighting each other. And look at this, what the fuck? It's like the most badass thing I've ever created with these two characters. Bam. That feels very badass. But anyway, let's get back to working here. Thanks for stopping by. Now I need to work. I need to just shut up and work for a bit here now. Alright, let me just go ahead, trace a bunch of this shit here. Oh my god. The Alright, I do. The cuffs are coming back, which means my sore throat is slowly inching its way back into the way I speak. Alright, let me just trace up this shit. For a future stream, I've been debating to myself whether I would do another coding stream or do a Harvest Moon stream. part of me wants to do more gaming stuff here for this channel, but then again, I do want to focus more on my more creative endeavors like coding and shit on my YouTube channel. There are just so many things for me to do right now. Just quickly make the squares here. And make the patterns of this mask right here. God. There's about to be two WrestleManias are about to pass. As I work on this one wrestling animation that I've been working on since last year. I do wonder if I would ever finish this at all. But the good thing is that I think I only have 2 more fight scenes to animate, and then the rest would just be a bunch of B-roll to make the scene more comedic. Anyway, we're slowly working on finishing this animation. Once that's done, we'll be enjoying, I don't know, 3 minutes worth of grease pencil animation here in Blender. My god. It makes you wonder if those animators in Japan are doing okay or something. Okay, pretty good. Just make the other eye here. Oh my god. Okay, wait. Oh my god, I forgot to bring the frickin' water jug into my room. Alright, hold on guys. I need to quickly get my water jug from the kitchen. Maybe I'll put you guys in the waiting screen because I think this will be a quick grab and go. Alright, I'm back. Alright, let's do some more animating here. Go. also make more of this, this, this. Okay. Alright, let me see how this looks. Alright, pretty good, pretty good. Alright. I think it's a good fix. It's a good fix. Okay, now I need to animate him. My guys, ever wonder how I made these other frames here? I pretty much just made these offline. Pretty smooth. Considering that I've pretty much all just traced this on from my rig here. Yo, what the? Oh, what's that? Is that the oatmeal? This is only one flavor. It's only one flavor.
Yeah.
Oh, I get two. What the heck? Thank you. Hey guys, my brother just came to me and he brought me some strawberry chocolate oats. I think this is like trail mix, but it's strawberry flavored. Let's give it a taste. That's good. What the frick? What is this brand? Cocoa. It's pretty good. What the heck? Oh, it is manufactured. What the heck? Oh, Metro Manila. Okay. That's a local thing, I guess. Anyway, let's eat one more of this. Hold on. It's very crunchy, I guess. Not really crunchy, but more like you're eating like dried oats, I'd say. Stuff like you're into a bar. Anyway, let's put this in my little trash can here. And let's drink some water. Alright, let's continue working. Oh my god. Alright. Going to work on the next frame here. I don't know if this is gonna be... It might take a while for me to finish this specific scene because I don't think there's any breaks wherein I let a pose linger for longer than it should. Like, there's a lot of movement going on in this one scene, so this might take a while for me to finish. And I don't think I'll be able to finish this by the end of this stream, but let's try to get as much done in this one session of ours. Alright. We got this. Oh my god. Oh, hey, what's up? What's your method for painting on surfaces? How do you approach painting on a surface? I see. Well, how I paint, I don't know if you can understand this, but how I paint on, well, not really on surfaces, but how I paint in Grease Pencil is that I set it first to 3D cursor on draw mode, and this allows me to specifically paint on a invisible plane that is in line with the 3D cursor. You can't see the plane right now because I think that you need to like set something up in canvas here for it to work, but here it is, like this plane here. As you can see, it aligns to, this plane will always align to wherever you are, to your view. I mean, it will always align to your view. So whenever I try to paint something, I make it so that it's always, I'm always staring in the right direction whenever I paint something in Grease Pencil. So whenever I try to paint my strokes, I first need to go to camera mode here, and in camera mode, I mean camera mode, but camera view. If I am in camera view, it will automatically paint my strokes to a specific plane, which is this one right here. Now, whenever I paint something in Grease Pencil, they're technically all just flat surfaces because I don't want to worry about how it looks in 3D space. Because in the end, what I'm animating here is just one shot. All I'm doing is animating it in animating it from one view angle. There are no like dynamic rotations of the camera here. So I don't need to worry about how 3D my Grease Pencils are right now. I just need to worry about how it looks on one angle, and the rest I just let it be. you know. So that's how I paint in grease pencil. Set it to 3D cursor, set it to view. Always be looking at your scene from one camera angle. Then just draw your strokes, you know. Oh, and be sure that your 3D cursor is at a place that wouldn't make sure that your 3D cursor is placed at a place wherein if you were to draw something on it, your strokes wouldn't intersect or cross with some 3D objects, because when that happens, you know, you will have to like move your frames a little bit to make sure it's all working well. Sorry for that. Sorry if my English isn't that good right now. Aside from the language barrier, I feel like I have been struggling to speak right now because I have a sore throat and I am also a little bit tired and groggy from my class from yesterday, so I can't really. I know my speech game isn't really in 100% right now. Hence why I cannot like talk. I don't know why. I just get English right now for some reason. It's what I'm saying, you know. Maybe it's because I've been resting my voice that my social speaking skills isn't really as good as what it was when I last streamed. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult for me to utter words right now because I've been resting my voice since last week, I guess. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't confuse you in a way. Anyway, let me just paint a bunch of these hand stuff. You see what people don't tell you is that if you don't speak to a bunch of people for a very long time, you start to lose your ability to actually speak with a bunch of people. if you don't talk to people that much, because I feel like it's a muscle that you need to keep using or else it would deteriorate and falter. Well, I guess just to add to your question, Miss Isabel, you know, the icon with Isabel on it. How I animate really is I just trace my characters one by one. I mean, when I say trace, I mean, you know, I first make a 3D model like this one in Blender. Then I try to animate those 3D models onto Blender using, you know, just rigs and shit. Then I go ahead and once I'm confident with how the characters are moving, I just start tracing their movements in grease pencil, because I'm not really a good 2D artist, I might add. I might say. I sometimes rely on my 3D models to get my 2D art looking great. And so I'm still like using 3D models to make my 2D animations. You know, there's a video you can watch called "The Craft in Making Internet Animation" made by me, which pretty much explains how I animate in Blender, both for 3D and 2D mediums, I'd say. Because this isn't my first ever 2D work. I've made one called Candlewick from before, and I use that as an example to explain how I animate in 2D in that video. So if you want to watch that, just go watch The Craft in Making Internet Animation by me, the Vanilla Log, or Morgan Ozpin if you're a big fan of my streams. I still catch people calling me the Vanilla Log, even if I've explained before that the Vanilla Log is more so a name I give to, I guess, the brand I've created for this channel, because Morgan Ozpin is basically just the name for this character I've created in my live streams. But the Vanilla Log is a conglomerate of different mediums I've created in the past, like websites, arts, animations, and music I've made in the past. So basically, Vanilla Log is my brand. I say brand as if I'm working for a company, but really it's just me that's working behind the scenes. And by me, I mean Morgan Ozpin. So the Vanilla Log is the brand, and Morgan Ozpin is me, the creator, I'd say. I'm not sure if I would ever expand the Vanilla Log into, you know, a multi-person project, because for the longest time it's only been me, and I'm not sure if there are other people in my circle that would be interested in working for this YouTube channel. But for now, I'm pretty much fine working on these stuff on my own, and I'm not really, I don't really know if I'm prepared to be, you know, to turn this. I'm not sure if I'm prepared to turn this channel into a multi-person project, I must say, because I'm having a lot of fun just, you know, doing this on my own, working on these animations on my own, even if these animations would take a long time for me to finish. Because part of what I've realized when it comes to working on my videos here is that the struggle to make videos here is really a part of what makes, you know, this whole YouTube gig so much fun. Because as soon as you take off all the problems you have when, you know, doing YouTube, you're just left with something that's not fun to do, I must say. Because part of what makes things fun is, you know, is solving problems that you encounter, or, you know, struggling, basically. You know, struggling to do something is what makes things fun, I must say. Because if you don't struggle, what's the point of, you know, trying to discover something new from it and having fun? Because boredom in reality is just, you know, when you're bored, it just means that you're not, you know, discovering anything new with what you're doing and shit. Or I guess that's more of a black and white way of explaining boredom. Or, you know, you're just not invested in something. It's when you're bored. So if you wanna be more invested in something, you need to find an activity that would give you a little bit of that push to make something to discover something from it, you know. Hold on, let me just stop myself before I start saying something inspirational on stream, because I feel like I've been doing that more often in these types of streams, you know. I for some reason have this habit of turning things into a life lesson that I must follow. Like in my recent video on coding, like I could just like can I just, you know, not make things more emotional for me in this YouTube channel of mine? I think it's starting to get a little bit too cringe for me. There are only like so many things I can turn into a sympathetic life lesson for me. Anyway, I'll just try to make the head of this one next. Let's paint this out. Okay, there we go. Alright, let me just paint the rest of this. Okay, let me see. Ooh boy. Just paint around these eyes right here, like so. You know, I caught someone once telling me during a live stream that, yo, you are pretty boring to watch right now, is what one person said during one live stream of mine back then. And you know, it got me thinking for a bit, like about what this guy said, and I was like, yeah, well, my live streams can get pretty boring, really, at the end of the day, and I sometimes feel guilty whenever someone visits my live streams and thinks that my live streams can be a little bit of a waste of time to some people. And I sometimes question whether I'm doing this to please someone or myself, really. And you know, I kind of figured out that, you know, maybe I'm just doing these live streams for myself because I don't really engage with people here. I just do my shit, then end the stream without any question. I guess the reason why I'm still streaming, even though I know that people would get bored, it's because this is pretty much just my journal, I guess, for myself. A complicated journal, I might add, because you know, if this was to be a journal, why am I making animations and music and learning about coding? I could have just, you know, I could have just made a diary, you know, get a notebook from National Bookstore and call it a day, and make a journal out of that. But really though, I feel like my channel is more so now a fun way for me to journal what I've been doing lately, because you know, back then I did do some journaling for myself. I was a big fan of Diary from a Kid, and I thought to myself, yo, I can also do some journaling. So I brought a notebook from this brand called Cattleya, and I made like a little journal out of that. But then I got bored doing it because, you know, writing in a notebook would get kind of boring after a while. So then I transitioned here onto YouTube, and YouTube has now became an outlet for me to express all of my creative ventures, starting with that stickman animation I did. But then the VTuber trend came into the picture, and at that point I was very interested in how VTubing works. So I created this little crappy wizard character on Blender, shipped it to Unity to convert it into an VRM model, and downloaded VC face to have it be tracked to my face on my webcam. And I thought that the reason why I got into VTubing was to... Hold on, did I make a line here? Okay. Okay. So the reason why I got into VTubing at first is I guess I want to share with people my Blender expertise, because I was studying Blender at the time, and my dad was like, I guess, forcing me to get into Blender. So I'm like, you know, at the time I wasn't really into 3D modeling at first. I thought it felt very lame, I would say. But then I saw this one YouTube video by Mori Calliope. But not really Mori Calliope from Hololive, but more so like a trash taste podcast of her, wherein she was like the special guest, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? This looks revolutionary. I want to try and do this shit on my channel. And heck, since my channel is already like an animation channel technically, I wanted to, you know, the transition isn't really that far off from what my audience usually expects from me. So I'm like, yo, this looks very fun. I want to try and do this on my channel. So I created a little crappy snowflake model, then transitioned to my wizard model that you see here today. And at first, the idea of uh, this whole live stream format was for me to just share my Blender process to the world, but it then kind of evolved into a way for me to prove that what I'm doing is not AI. Because around like I think 2023 or late 2022 was when people started to realize that, you know, AI is starting to become a threat to artists around the world, and it's, you know, it might take people's jobs. And I reflected on how people are taking shit right now, and I looked at my recent shit from my YouTube channel. And by recent shit, I mean like the shorts I've been posting, wherein I just show you guys the finished artwork of my stuff that I've been working on in Blender. And I thought to myself, shit, that really, you know, if people aren't educated enough, they would think that what I'm doing is AI generated, when in reality, these are all just, you know, things I've made in Blender. So my live streams evolved into a way for me to prove to people that, hey, yo, guys, what I'm doing is legit. I'm not telling a computer to make this shit for me. I am, you know, studying what it's like to, you know, use the nodes in Blender. I've been studying all the modeling tools that they have there. I studied box modeling and, you know, basic sculpting tools here in Blender. And, you know, I'm basically not a phony. I'm trying. I'm actually, you know, working my way here to become like a legit artist, or a legit digital artist here on the internet. And, you know, the live streams has became a way for me to prove to people that, yo, what I'm doing is legit. And I guess that's still what it is to this point. Me just working on my grease pencil shenanigans, because I wanna show people that I'm not using AI to cheat my way out of making this shit in the computer. And that's still basically still technically the purpose of my live streams right now. But it now sort of has like a second purpose for me as a creator. And that purpose I discovered that I can get from live streams is that with live streams, it sort of gives you accountability, I must say. Because you know, I'm not gonna lie, there are gonna be some times wherein you feel like you're not in the mood to make something here in the computer, like these animations or these coding stuff. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't really take any coding classes ever since I finished that one video I told you guys about on computer coding. I haven't took any computer coding classes for a while until just recently, when before my stream from yesterday, I reviewed BroCode's JavaScript tutorial video, and basically just reviewed what I've learned so far in JavaScript by making a temperature conversion calculator in Visual Studio Code. And the only reason why I did that was because I wanted to give you guys some content, but more to give you guys content than to, you know, do a Visual Studio Code stream. So Of course, I don't wanna say that I solely depend on you guys to tell me what to do. You know. But yeah, but with the streams, I came to realize that if I start, you know, doing a live stream, I sort of have this urge to at least work on something for at least 2 hours or something, because that's basically the habit I've formed whenever I do my live streams here. You're not supposed to go under 1 hour or anything. You just need to sit back, put your hands on your computer, get your tablet, and work on one specific project for just 2 hours. And that is something that I just cannot get for some reason if I'm not streaming it online. So that's why I still, well, yeah, that's just one of the reasons why I still stream, is because it just forces me to do shit, you know. Compared to if I were to work on this without anyone watching me. I don't know, is it crazy for me to think of myself that way? Or is it, am I narcissistic to say that if I'm not, if things aren't being shown on the internet, then I wouldn't work on it at all? I don't know. But I don't wanna say to you guys that what I'm doing is not fun anymore. Heck, I'm still having fun doing these sorts of streams and what I've been doing on these types of streams. Like, I wouldn't be doing computer coding if I didn't find anything genuinely good about it, genuinely fun about it. It's just that, you know, there'll be times when you just don't feel like doing anything at all. And when you feel like you're not doing anything at all, the best way to get out of that mindset is just do stuff, I guess. And while you're at it, you can also just watch or listen to some music or some video essay in the background, because I think that's like one way for me to get back into the game while still working on some projects like this. Anyway, the only problem I have with playing stuff in the background while I work is that it only works if I'm doing stuff that is, you know, mindless, like this grease pencil shit that I'm doing right now. But if, say, I wanna try and learn JavaScript on the side while I watch a video essay, I don't think that would ever work on my behalf, because if you're gonna go, if you wanna go sit down and learn, you don't wanna concentrate on two things at once. Your mind is just not, or at least my mind is not built for that. You really gotta lock in and listen to the tutorial guy speaking to you in front of the camera. You can't just play music in the background while someone is talking about arrays for JavaScript. It's why I guess I haven't been that fast to learning JavaScript right now, because I've been multitasking the things I learn. while I watch a bunch of video essays in the background. But I think I'm now in a position where I'm now back into the JavaScript grind. Like, I'm now planning that our next stream would be for me to make a dice roller program by following a tutorial I found online by BroCode. Oh my god, did I tell you guys how good BroCode is at teaching code? I'm planning that after I finish this JavaScript tutorial that I would hop into his tutorial series on React. Or Rust, I'm not sure. I heard Rust it's like the second most fastest programming language out there. Maybe I'll learn C#, maybe. I do want to try and make my coding skills, you know, much more useful to me by making stuff with it, and I want to try to make games with it at some point. Aside from that Harvest Moon minigame I want to try to make at some point, I have this Metroidvania game I want to try and create in my mind. Because I'm a big fan of Metroid and Castlevania, so why not try and geek out by making a spiritual successor to those two franchises and make a game about it. Not a fan game, I mean like a original Metroidvania that's sort of inspired by those two franchises. But right now I'm still stuck to making complicated calculators here in JavaScript, as well as making websites using that program. Programming language, I mean. Oh my god. Hold on, how long have I been streaming? Hour and 27 minutes, okay. Alright, I might have to wrap this up in 30 minutes. Because I wanna take some time to rest. I'm gonna be watching the Minecraft movie in a bit here, so I don't want to miss that. So I'm gonna just make maybe one more frame, then I'll call it a day. Let's see. Just make the pattern here, straight line, boop. Alright, I need to blow a load. Hold on. Where's the tissues? I need to blow my nose. God dang it. I ran out of tissues here. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay. I'm just gonna blow a load, guys. Hold on. Oh my god. Alright. Okay. Alright. No, I'll be able to finish anything in this stream. At least you guys get to have a quick update on how this animation is going so far. Oh shit, wait, hold on. I need to get rid of the what's it called? Can I get rid of the plane again? Ah, here we go. Okay. I'll also get rid of the meta rig here. Okay. Alright, let me see. Okay, good. Right, wait, what I used to, instead of tracing the headbutt here, and it goes for the headbutt, I instead went for a smear frame, hence why it looks kind of janky there. I feel like that's more appropriate for a 2D style like this. Alright, let's go with the next one. Okay, this is about to go for the idle move here. Yeah, I definitely need to end the stream after this. I'm feeling very sleepy right now, which ain't good if I want to stare at Jack Black's Minecraft skin for 2 hours later tonight. Alright, almost done. Okay, I'll make the edge of the suit here as well. Make a few strokes here. So we'll stroke the hands here. Nice. Okay. You know, but after before the stream ends, I'm gonna give you guys one more preview of how the shot looks with these 3D models in mind, so you get an idea of how where the roadmap of this 2D animation would be. Let's see. And I also think of maybe uploading the 3D model animation here onto YouTube. Just the viewport animation of it onto YouTube. Because I feel like it's too badass to be uploaded onto my Ko-Fi or my second channel. By the way, guys, if you want to see some stream clips of me just talking and showing some funny moments, the second channel has now become that that channel, you know, a clips channel for me. So if you want more short clips from my streams, you can go watch it there. I made a video about college there on my second channel, so if you are more interested in that, you can go watch it there. It's not really as high quality as my videos here on the vanilla log, but it can suffice as a, you know, as a little clip that I can easily edit and export in DaVinci. Whew, okay. Alright, there we go. Go. Okay. Let's make some more strokes here. More strokes here. Here. God, I should have talked to you guys about the Nintendo Switch 2. Why did I forget about the Nintendo Switch 2? I could have talked about this on stream. But yeah, basically, I'm so hyped for the Nintendo Switch 2. Have you guys seen the Nintendo Direct for that console? My God, they already have a bunch of games for it. I'm so pumped. They have Yakuza 0 Nintendo Switch 2 edition, Duskblood, this one game from Software called Duskblood, Duskbloods. My God, why is it hard for me to say bloods right now? Duskbloods. There's also a new Mario Kart World game. And the new Donkey Kong game. What the frick? It's 3D. What the fuck? I'm so hyped. I wanna try and play that once I get a Nintendo Switch 2. And I also want to try and expose my family to the world of Yakuza through Yakuza 0. I've shown my little siblings of some clips from Yakuza Infinite Wealth, and they seem to be very stoked about it. But I haven't played Yakuza 0 yet. I want to try and play that once I get the Nintendo Switch 2. So let's see. God, I can't believe we are now getting like AAA titles here onto the Nintendo Switch. That is, you know, that's much more graphically capable compared to the last gen console of Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch 1, I guess. Because I couldn't imagine the original Nintendo Switch running, I don't know, like Elden Ring or any From Software game, or Doom Eternal in the last Nintendo Switch generation. But now that we're here in the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm now starting to see that we might be getting a new generation of on-the-go gaming, I might say, with the introduction of games like Dustbloods and Yakuza 0 on the Nintendo Switch 2. But those are very beefy games, and the fact that they're able to fit it into a handheld console is just so surprising to me. Anyway, let's make a few more strokes here, then we'll call it a day. I apologize for the short stream, guys. I know this hasn't been like my most active of days, but I need to rest for now. I got a whole day planned with my family, so I don't wanna sleep on that. And also, here is, I guess, the work we've done so far. On the grease pencil. Oh, wait, I guess it also stroke up the mask here. There we go. See, there we go. That feels very lively. Look at that. Oh, and I also made a bunch of notes here because when I was animating the rig, I had a difficult time keeping track of what I'm supposed to be animating with my bones, so I had to like make this one quick note on grease pencil to make sure that I'm on the same headspace as my past self. Anyway, here's our final animation here on grease pencil. Ignore that note. But as one last look into how these look on camera here. Here is how it looks. There we go. Bam. Oh my god. Look at how powerful this guy is. Look at that. Going for the headbutt. Bam! Bam! And boom! And then lift him up. And then boom! Onto the chair. Here's how it looks like from a different angle, I guess. I'm not sure if it looks good in the... No, it doesn't really look good in the other side though. You see, the reason why I am doing this in grease pencils is because my 3D animation skills is still very rudimentary. So I am using grease pencil to edit out all of the bad shit I left out on my 3D animation here. Anyway, let's play it one more time. Maybe from this angle now. Look at that. Oh boy. Ooh, and he's gonna go for it. Ah, shit. Is it from this angle? I want to see how this looks from this angle. Wow, wow, wow. And spoom. And then... Oh shit, it's gonna freaking... Oh shit. Wait, from here maybe. Ah. And then... Up. And then... Boom. But I think the camera... The camera angle here is much better compared to the other shots here. Don't you guys hate it whenever like an action movie would start showing you a fight scene, but then the freaking camera starts shaking, shaking so hard that you can't really tell what's going on at all? I try to minimize as much camera shaking here as possible. I only try to move it in case there's like a major, in case there's gonna be a major slam that's gonna happen, like that one. Oh, anyway, this is gonna be the end of the stream, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm gonna go ahead and rest on my bed now. Now go read a book. Bye bye. Bam. Alright, see you guys. Wham.